This episode of the GSE podcast is brought to you by Exceed Ground Support Equipment Leasing, your trusted partner for GSE solutions. We specialize in tailored operating leases for ground handlers and airlines, offering top-notch equipment and flexible terms to suit your needs. Partner with the industry leaders, we're committed to bringing you the equipment offerings that keep your operations running smoothly and efficiently. Choose Exceed for competitive rates and exceptional customer service. Visit exceedgse.com today and soar to new heights with Exceed Ground Support Equipment Leasing.
Hello, this is Michael Biaggi.
This is Josh Smith.
I'm Brian Yoder.
This is Justin Brennan, and you're listening to the GSE Podcast.
All right. Welcome to the GSE Podcast. I'm here with Suzanne Woodward and Christian Eitner from JBT Aerotech. Real excited to have you guys on today. We are at Christian Eitner's house right now, sitting in his dining room. And thank you so much for the hospitality and having us over here today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, you know, we are neighbors, so it wasn't too far for both of us. I guess Suzanne is the one that had to travel a little bit, but
yeah, she had to travel a little bit further than me. I think I had the 1.2 miles is what my GPS said.
Oh, wow. I came from the office at 7300 President's Drive and have a new appreciation for your commute, especially on a rainy day.
Traffic is horrible here.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Narcoossee Road is not good for anybody.
No.
So I am here today. I wanted to have you guys on. So I had Patrick McDowell on from JBT Aerotech on episode 3, and we covered a lot of stuff. It was a great episode. Really enjoyed that. And then on episode 4, I had Suzanne on after we had just recently met at the GHI conference. And we got to have a little bit of introduction to you. And I really appreciate you coming on that episode. That was great. So, but today what I wanted to do was go over a couple of things with you all. So first is, since I had that episode 3 with Patrick, you got acquired by Oshkosh Corporation. So I want to go over that today. And then also we had a couple of new things happen. Now we got a tease from Patrick about the AmpCart. But since then, we have learned a lot about the AmpCart and it's gone into market. So I want to talk about that with Christian. But right now, I think I'm going to turn my attention to Suzanne. And we are going to talk about the acquisition of JBT Aerotech by Oshkosh Corporation. So can you kind of tell me a little bit about, you know, what kind of changes have happened and then what kind of changes you expect to see in the future?
All right. Well, thank you for having us again. Great to be back at the GSE podcast. Oshkosh Corporation, we just celebrated our first 90 days as an Oshkosh Corporation company. So really exciting. They actually just hosted the global town hall with the CEO, John Pfeiffer, and all of the executive leadership here in Orlando. So it's been a very exciting week celebrating our first 90 days. Oshkosh is a global manufacturing company, 17,000 employees. So really excited. I don't know about you, but Christian, but I am thrilled to be part of Oshkosh.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Yes, it's a huge corporation. So they're on the stock exchange. They own major brands that everybody has heard of, you know, JLG lifts. And I think that what they do, fire trucks.
Yeah, Pierce Manufacturing, yes. Jordan, JLG, as you mentioned, the Stryker ARF vehicles. So yeah, very well-known, high-profile brands.
So JBT Aerotech fits right into that kind of larger vehicle manufacturing, all that kind of stuff. It fits right into their kind of, you know, what their bread and butter is, and which is fantastic for you guys. And I'm sure that sourcing is going to be a lot easier with the power of Oshkosh behind you. And then as far as engineering, I imagine they have quite the engineering staff at Oshkosh that can also help out JBT. So, but I mean, you know, kind of tell me in your own words, like, you know, what you kind of see now that they, you know, just, I know it's early. I know it's early, but, you know, where do you see Oshkosh helping JBT kind of get to that next level?
Yeah. So just as you said, we fit perfectly in their purpose-built high profile vehicles. Durability, reliability are core values for them. They also, similar to JBT in the past, put people first, and their future is all about innovation and technology. So their engineering resources are focused on the same things that we are: electrification, autonomy, having people work safely and more efficiently and effectively.
Yeah. And that's very important. And, I think if they're already working on things like electrification in their other vehicles and autonomous in their other vehicles, it must, that'll make it a lot easier that they're already down that road with that technology, and they can only help JBT Aerotech out if you all are already on that path as well. So, like, Christian, what do you see from this acquisition?
Well, the one thing that really excites me is the technology share that we can do between both companies, and we have developed a lot of things that they see valuable to them. One of them being IOPS, our fleet management and telemetry system, but also we have a lot of technology that they do that we see will fit straight into our portfolio, and we'll be able to offer very groundbreaking technology in our industry that does not exist. And that's something that really is very, very exciting to us. The other part is that they have a very strong focus in our industry, and they want to grow AeroTech. And this is something that in the past years we could have done more aggressively, but now we're going to go full stream, and that means growth.
That's awesome. So, Suzanne, do you see, or do you think that JBT will stick around, the JBT part, or will it turn into some kind of Oshkosh Aerotech?
Yes. So currently, since we closed on August 1st, we are JBT Aerotech, an Oshkosh Corporation company. So this is just our transitional branding and logo. We will become Oshkosh Aerotech will be our name. We are launching whole new logo, branding, colors, etc. But that will be in the next year. The timing has not been released. But from a marketing perspective, definitely really excited. Everything that they have done thus far is so professional, always centered on people and community first. So really eager and anxious to see what they come up with as Oshkosh Aerotech.
Yeah. And, what's really cool is that I guess all the, major leaders came down here to Orlando and presented at your location, right?
Absolutely. It was really exciting to see these level of people, communicating with all of us. And I must say, they're down to earth. They are manufacturing people. They're people that deal with the same problems that we deal. And when you're talking to a CEO or to a president of an entire group, and he knows exactly what's going on. He knows exactly the issues we're having in terms of, getting the right parts on time and being able to fulfill orders on time. They are in the same problem, and they understand it and understand it. And so, it's people that understand our world. And that is very, very comforting. They're not financial people. They're not CFOs. They understand our world.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they'll be able to help us a lot better.
Oh, for sure. Because it's all their companies are manufacturing companies. Correct. And they're manufacturing things on wheels, just like you guys are, heavy equipment. It all makes sense for them. It's a perfect fit for you guys. And I'm really excited to see, what kind of things can happen in the future with JBT Aerotech and as being part of an Oshkosh corporation. It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah. Just to tell you that our engineering group has already met several times with other groups engineering within Oshkosh, and they're already sharing technology. We had a couple of things that we weren't really sure how to improve, and they had that same issue some years ago, and they designed something that we are going to be able to implement. So there's a lot going on, and we already see a very strong cooperation.
I love it. I love it. So let's talk about the AmpCart.
Sure.
So I recently saw on LinkedIn that I think you were in the photo even of you at DHL with the AmpCart. So let's, just in case people have missed it, right? Can you kind of give an overview of the AmpCart?
Absolutely. So the AmpCart was created by the need that DHL had with their electrification goals that were set by their corporation, by Deutsche Post. And so this is happening everywhere. Big corporations set very aggressive goals to neutralize or lower their carbon footprint. Yet the real problem that the ground handler team finds is that while the technology is there, the infrastructure is often not there, at least not for large volumes of fleets. So DHL thought, okay, I understand what you want to do, but my first priority is to ensure the operation. And I cannot ensure the operation if I have electric GSE that I can't charge. And in some cases, the charger infrastructure is not there and won't be for the foreseeable future. Why? Because there are other bottlenecks that municipalities, airports, governments need to go through first. Some power grids are not powerful enough to add more electric infrastructure. In other cases, the real estate is not there. There is not enough real estate around the terminals to install all the chargers that they need. And also, GSE normally is quite large in size, so there's only so many you can put next to each other to be charged. What we decided is to create AmpCart to allow that gap to be bridged by something that they can use today, they can buy today, and they can support today until the airports can come up with their solutions, which is going to take time and money, a lot of money. So with AmpCart, you have a mobile charging station. You can tow it around the airport wherever you need it. You don't have to drive heavy electric equipment to the chargers. You're independent because you can run it from shore power, 480 volt. You plug it in. You have 8 or 12 chargers at your disposition. If you don't have 480 volt power, you can run onboard genset that it comes with, and you can charge 12 pieces of equipment at the same time. While running a diesel genset sounds not very intelligent, the reality is that while bridging this gap, you are removing 12 very inefficient diesel engines with one very efficient diesel engine. And diesel engines normally run very nicely at a constant RPM during long periods of time. That is a genset life. Diesel engines are not very clean and not very efficient when they are running at idle and have sudden acceleration, and then they go back to idle. So it's not just replacing 12 diesel engines with one. It's replacing 12 very inefficient diesel engines with one. And again, this is just in those cases where you don't have any shore power at all. It will allow you to make the right investment today that you know will be your future. The other option would be you either buy diesel today because you know that's what you can run today, and within the next 3, 4, 5 years, someone at the airport is going to say no more internal combustion. So now you end up with assets that you can't sell because nobody's going to want internal combustion. So that is not a good investment. Or you do the right investment, you buy electric, but you can't support it because you don't have charging infrastructure. AmpCart allows you to make the right investment today.
That makes sense to me.
Good.
Yeah, it does. So, because that was going to be my next question was, now, why would somebody buy it knowing that they didn't have the infrastructure?
Correct.
But it sounds like to me, the reason that people would be buying this now is because they want to invest in electric vehicles today.
That's it.
When they're replacing some of their fleet, rather than buying another internal combustion engine.
Correct.
They go ahead and buy an AmpCart, and then they can start investing in electric now, rather than having to wait for that infrastructure to get there and then have to worry about getting rid of old internal combustion pieces of equipment, which makes a ton of sense to me.
Yeah, that's what we saw, and it allows people to be independent from the limitations of airports. And you have to think the following way. When an airport needs to add infrastructure, what they're dealing with is you have to close gates. You have to reroute passengers and aircraft. You have to open tarmac. You have to find contractors. You have to deal with security passes for contractors that you need to do background checks. I mean, it takes a ton of money and a ton of time to have that infrastructure done. And then once you're done with that, you have to start all over for the next phase, because you can't just shut down an entire terminal.
Yeah.
You know, I read one case, you're working with a live animal. You can't kill it, fix it, and then put it back to life. It's a live animal.
Yeah.
So AmpCart allows you to be independent of all of that. You have your goals. You have your fate in your own hands. You can go towards those goals by yourself. You're not depending on the limitations of other stakeholders.
That's amazing. So will it charge any piece of electric equipment?
Pretty much, yes. So batteries nowadays have become very intelligent. They have what it's called a BMI, battery management system. So as long as we can program the battery type onto the charger, it'll recognize it and charge it. So it's not a big deal. We just need to know what batteries you have. Right now, DHL is charging belt loaders, it's charging electric GPUs, as well as our loaders and tractors. So,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I've noticed this thing is a fairly large footprint to it.
Right.
So have you all ever discussed or thought about maybe making a smaller version? Because this one I think has, you said maybe an option for 12 and then
Correct.
An option for 8.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
In its current state.
Correct.
So are you thinking about maybe going to something smaller?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There is two reasons here. One reason for the large footprint is obviously the big genset
Yes.
that you need.
Oh, that's a good
and
point.
It's a huge thing. The other reason, though, is you need the real estate to be able to charge up to 12 pieces of GSE around it. While we have swing arms and we have long cables, you still need to have the real estate to park all these units around. So the size was partially decided by the amount of equipment that an airline would need to serve an aircraft. And we consider 2 large cargo loaders, and I'm talking about a wide body, 2 large cargo loaders, a pushback tractor, a conveyor belt, a GPU, and so forth. So that's part of the reason of why it's so large. But yes, there is the option. There will be the option to have a smaller cart with maybe 2 chargers, with a small genset, or maybe not a small genset, or even without a genset. If you have enough charging points, not chargers, but charging points, that you can plug your AmpCart to shore power, and you can just run from one spot. You can run 8, 12, 5, as many as you need. That's another option that you have. Yeah. Without having the need of a generator.
So currently your electric offerings are C15, C30, B250, B350?
Correct. And 650 as
and
well.
And 650s there as well.
Don't forget your B80.
Correct.
Well, yeah, I was about to get there. The B80 and Electros.
Correct. And then we also, so right now we offer passenger boarding stairs, mobile passenger boarding stairs. So meaning stairs that are self-propelled. We offer pushback tractors from smallest size to right now up to a 777 in dry conditions. By the end of the year, we're going to have up to a 747 in snow conditions. So that size, 100,000 pounds. In electric, we do offer cargo loaders up to 30,000 pounds. That includes Commander, the traditional cargo loader, but also the Ranger type of cargo loader, which is our ground handler or long distance cargo loader.
And that comes in electric now?
Yes, that comes in electric. It's actually the ideal cargo loader for electric because when we designed that loader, and I know we're going a bit off topic.
Oh, that's okay.
When we designed that loader, it was meant to be a loader that can be driven longer distance based on the new needs of ground handlers that need to travel to different terminals to serve their customers. And to be able to do that, the loader needed to lose weight. So a Ranger loses about 6 tons of dead weight compared to any other cargo loader in the market, including the Commander. So it's a mobile piece of equipment. And as you know, batteries are depleted fastest when they're in drive mode. When you drive the vehicle, that's when the battery depletes the most, especially on those very heavy equipment. So Ranger is really ideal for electrification because it's a very light loader.
Okay. All right. So basically your entire fleet has electric capabilities. There's not one thing that doesn't.
One thing that still is not electric is our de-icers.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
But de-icers, we are looking into it. The reason why it has not been a priority yet to us is because our de-icers are already extremely efficient. And the reason being is because we build them on our own chassis. So we only need one engine, which equals to any hybrid unit out there that needs a battery and an engine.
Okay.
So we only need an engine, so we just don't need a battery. But we're looking into it as well.
And then I also saw on LinkedIn that you all have partnered with Universal Hydrogen to do a hydrogen AmpCart or
Absolutely.
Hydrogen cart.
Yes.
Do you call it the hydrogen AmpCart? I don't know what it's called.
We call it the AmpCart H2.
Okay.
And that's an interesting project. It's a very real project. We are going to have a first prototype in the first quarter. And we are looking at having a production unit by Q4 of 2024. Hydrogen, we see hydrogen as a fuel option that you can have. The AmpCart remains the same. The purpose of the AmpCart remains the same. You can just power it with a diesel genset or with a hydrogen fuel cell. The hydrogen fuel cell itself is not the problem. The problem for hydrogen, and we had hydrogen cargo loaders in demo for 6 months. We had the Ranger hydrogen for 6 months, and CVG worked perfectly. There is no secret really in hydrogen. It's a fairly robust technology. The main problem that hydrogen has is, as with electricity, the infrastructure. So airports will not move to hydrogen in a short time because it requires a very heavy investment in infrastructure. To get hydrogen into the airport is difficult. The genius idea of universal hydrogen is they have solved that problem by removing that problem. So what they do is the hydrogen-powered AmpCart will have a small trailer that will be towed behind the AmpCart that contains the tanks of hydrogen. And just as you replace your propane tank on your barbecue, this is the same system. So we will calculate your needs, your daily, weekly needs of hydrogen, and we will have delivered, or Universal Hydrogen has the logistics already in place to deliver those quantities in form of a cart with containers on it full of hydrogen. And you just need to hook up the cart, bring the empty one out. They will take it and fill it wherever they need to fill it, and they'll bring it back. And so you just keep switching them, and problem solved. Hydrogen is not a problem anymore.
That's incredible. So who's going to make the equipment? JBT?
Yes,
because a lot, I don't know of any manufacturers currently working on hydrogen equipment.
No. So we will produce the AmpCart. We are right now in a RFP for a hydrogen fuel cell. So we're looking at different fuel cell manufacturers, and we're going to choose the one that fits best. And then Universal Hydrogen is going to fulfill the entire logistic part and source the hydrogen. Something I learned is that there are different types of hydrogens, and they are based on colors. And the colors show the cleanliness of the manufacturing of that hydrogen. So there is black hydrogen and blue hydrogen and green hydrogen based on how it is produced. We're looking here at green hydrogen, which is a hydrogen that is produced in the cleanest way possible. And
okay.
So apparently within the process of producing hydrogen, they're also looking at lowering that carbon footprint because it wouldn't make sense otherwise.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Wow. That's really
it's
cool.
a whole world.
Yeah. It's a whole different thing. And something I haven't really heard anybody else in GSE talking about or discussing. So it's very interesting. I'm glad that seems like JBT Aerotech is all over, the different kinds of, providing any kind of, infrastructure that you need, whether the airport's got it or not.
It's about solving the problem.
Yeah.
We saw electrification over the last couple of years, and we understood that in terms of the GSE itself, there is absolutely no limitation. In terms of the batteries, there is no limitation. And yet nobody in the last years, nobody really went for it. Every customer asked us about electric equipment, and yes, some bought one or two, but it was never really implemented as such. And we started thinking, why not? And the reason why not was actually the infrastructure. Everybody wants, but there is no infrastructure. And this helps you bridge that gap.
Yep. No, it's great. Thank you so much for for telling me about it. I appreciate it. So one thing we forgot to do was kind of have a full introduction to Christian. So I usually ask people the moment they come on the podcast, tell me about how you got into the ground support equipment industry, because it's always really surprising how people end up in our little unique industry that we have here. So how did you start? Kind of tell me your story about how you got into GSE.
Yeah, I guess you and I know each other too well.
Exactly. We just went right into it.
Too much history.
Yeah,
Correct.
That's right.
Yeah. So I started 1999 in FMC in Madrid, Spain. And I was actually brought in when JBT or FMC back those days started a new product line. And it was, they needed some German translator. And I was working back then for Deutz diesel engines in Spain.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And FMC was our customer. So they reached out to Deutz, knowing that Deutz is a German engine manufacturer. And they said, hey, you got somebody that speaks German, English, and Spanish, because we need the translation from the technology to our engineers. And so, they had this young kid there that was basically the paper boy. And they said, well, we got a kid here. I don't know if he wants to do it during his holidays. And obviously, as a young kid, you need money. And I volunteered. I did it for 2 months. Went to Germany and got to know all the FMC people. And when I was done, I went back to Deutz. And a couple of months later, I got a request from the general manager of FMC in Madrid to come and interview. And so, I found it was interesting, and I started back then, 1999. So after that, I moved. I was asked to develop the Central European market. So I moved to Germany, which is where I am really from. And so I took my family and we moved there. We lived there for 11 years, and then I was offered a position here in the US. And so I took my family again, and we moved to the US. So I'm basically raising a family of nomads.
Yeah.
But no, JBT has always taken so good care of us. And so there was never a risk of us not, from a family perspective, of us failing in one of the moves. And it's always been very good for me, for my career. I learned how to understand all these different cultures. I've been dealing with the Middle Eastern culture. I've been dealing with Africa for a while. Europe has a lot of cultures. You have the Mediterranean, more Latino kind of culture. Then you have the more Germanic culture, the British culture as well, as I was reporting to Peter Woodman for a long time. And now I got to learn the American culture. So it's been very, very interesting.
And now you live a mile away from me. I mean, your life trajectory is just heading straight up.
All the way up, right?
All the way up. I like it. So do you have a good GSE story that you'd like to share? I always ask, people that come on the podcast to tell a little bit of a GSE story, if you would like to. you have any good stories? Maybe it was the day that you came up with the AmpCart and you wrote it on a bar napkin or something like that, you know?
That's a good one. Yes, that's a good one because it really happened that way. I remember it was in Las Vegas, and we went out with our president from the business unit, Dave Burdekin, and then Bob Falls and Michael Horton from DHL. And we were having a dinner after the show, and we were sitting at the table and we were talking electrification, and and the idea came like, why our problem is we want electric, but we have remote locations in some of the airports where we only land with 2-3 flights a week. We're being put somewhere in the middle of the tarmac, and there's no way that we can get electric power out there. And yet we do need to buy electric equipment because that's what our corporation wants from us, but that's what Deutsche Post wants from us. But there's no way we can charge it. So, and they were talking about huge batteries so that they could drive back and forth from, miles to charge the equipment and then still be able to operate and offload a freighter aircraft and load it back up and then still have enough juice to get back to the charger. When the idea came up, and it was really Bob and Michael that said, hey, if we could have something mobile. And that's how we started developing it. And, it only later we understood that this actually solves a much larger problem, which is, the time gap between what companies want today and what the infrastructure will be will be in the future.
Yeah. The other thing that I like about it is that even if you're not using the genset, you can use it as kind of like a power strip,
Absolutely. That's the primary use of AmpCart really is look, the real estate at the terminal, at the gate is limited. So you can only have so many chargers there, and you can only park so many equipment around those chargers. And normally the charger is parked against the wall. So you only have one side of it where you can park equipment. With AmpCart, you can remove that further away from the terminal and you can park all around, not just one side. So that's the primary use. Now, if you don't have any source of power, yes, you can use the diesel genset. But as well, there is a third life to it, which is in the future when everything is electric in locations like Orlando, like Florida, what happens after a hurricane? What happens after flooding? What happens after a natural disaster or the power grid goes down just because it goes down? You will still be able to service your aircrafts.
Yeah.
Because you have a backup. Hospitals have backups. Factories have gensets backups. You'll always have a backup.
It's a good point. I really like that.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So what we got to figure out is what we're going to do, because my math brain is going right now. We got a 25-year in GSE anniversary about to happen. 1999 in 2024. Am I right?
Pretty much.
So yes. Christian's going to be celebrating 25 years in GSE. So we're going to have to do something for the guy. I don't know what we're going to do, but my brain's working. And that's a big milestone, 25 years.
It is, yeah.
Some would say it's too many years in GSE.
I think it is, but I remember someone in GSE, he's not with us anymore, unfortunately, but he said to me, Chris, be sure this is what you want to do, because I can guarantee you once you enter this world, there's no way out.
Yeah.
And it's true. And most of the people that I know that have switched and changed, they stay within this industry.
Yeah. So we have at least two people at this table that have left and come back. And that's me and Suzanne. Yeah. So yeah. I left for about 1.5 years. And I think I was still, even during that 1.5 years, I was consulting a little bit. And then I had to make my way back, and I don't think I'm going to be leaving. I think I'll probably retire in GSE. So you can't leave. And Suzanne, she left for years and came back, and we're both sitting here today. So it's a true story. You can't leave. I mean, you can maybe leave for a little bit, but you're always coming back.
But you always come
exactly.
Back.
That's right. So, well, thank you so much. Either of you else have anything else to say here? Or I think did we get it covered?
I think we've bored everybody enough with AmpCart.
It's a great product. That's the reason I wanted to, bring you on today and let's discuss it. And it sounds like people in the industry are already taking off with it. It's already out there. How many do you have out in the field currently?
So right now we have 2 in the field.
Okay. With a lot more on the production line, I imagine.
The whole production, and that's one of the bottlenecks we're having is getting those big gensets allocated to us.
Yeah,
Oshkosh is helping us tremendously with that. Yes,
that buying power we talked about.
Exactly. Yeah. So as JBT, we obviously were small when competing with the big construction, heavy equipment construction companies.
Now you're just a part of one.
Correct. But the thing that I wanted to add, and you reminded me, is other industries are looking into AmpCart as well. So we're now talking not just to airport authorities that are seeing this as a very realistic way of implementing electric power immediately to their airports. But we're also talking to heavy construction equipment companies that are also looking in electrification of their machines, diggers, and everything that you use. Also in the marine world, where heavy equipment is being used on boat wrecks. How do you call it? Boat wrecks, where they build boats. How do you call it?
Yeah,
boat wrecks. Okay,
yeah, sure. Sounds good.
There's a lot of interest from other industries as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's really cool. I hadn't thought about that. I mean, Elon's going to be calling any minute.
Pretty much.
He's going to
want.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to win in on this. So, and he's right down the road. It's right. SpaceX. So, well, thank you all so much for coming on the podcast, and Suzanne, thank you for coming on again. I really appreciate it. Always great to have you on.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for hosting us in your home.
Oh, yes. It was an honor. It was long due, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I've been promised to come over here for a really long time, and just now getting the invite. So,
no.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, this has been Matt and Christian and Suzanne for the GSE podcast. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt.
I'm Gary Kemp, and you've been listening to GSE Podcast.